Yeah, welcome to Mark this week. We are back after a little break in which we were celebrating all manner of victories in sport. There have been so many, both here in Uganda and abroad. And Mark to Mark was in party mode, if you like. But we're going to discuss one or two of those, not in celebratory mode anymore. We need to look at them in depth and then see where we take sport from there. For starters, we are going to be talking about Uganda's history makers in Qatar. That's the under 17 national team called the Cubs, who are playing at the World Cup, FIFA World Cup under 17s. We'll talk about them, talk about the Cranes and World Cup qualification and AFCON. And then we'll come back home and say one or two things about what's happening in the Uganda Premier League. Mark, let's start with the under 17s though. We were here before the tournament started. We previewed the tournament, previewed our team, said a few things that have come to pass actually, but perhaps we were not too sure would be coming back here when the Uganda Cubs were actually still in the tournament. But they are.
They are, and listen, it's a massive story, beautiful story coming out of Doha. Our boys have done us proud in many ways. The most remarkable thing, Mark, about the Cubs advancing to the knockout stages for me is not so much that they beat France 1-0, which was a very historic result, beating France at the FIFA World Cup. For me, it's the manner in which they've bounced back. Because these are boys who led in the opening game against Canada, which was a team, in the eyes of most, we felt that Uganda was going to have to take care of, because we felt Chile and France were going to be harder games. We felt that maybe Canada was the kind of team where we stood a chance of getting the victory before the games. And we took a lead, had chances to battle that game, we didn't convert them, and then we conceded in the 88th minute. And then we conceded a last-minute penalty in the 90th minute. These are kids. We are forgetting that these are kids. They're just 17-year-olds, 16, 17-year-olds. But to bounce back from that heartbreak and then get a very, very credible result against Chile and then go on, regroup, and then beat France is testament to the resilience, the will to win, and the belief in the young boys. They showed maturity way beyond their years. And I think what they've done is massive. I mean, Brian Senyado has done a very, very fantastic job.
Yeah.
And for me, Ugandan teams are not known to show that resilience.
But they have done that.
But these kids have done it. And I think our senior team can learn from them.
Can learn from them, yeah. Look, it's just an amazing story that these kids are writing out there in Qatar. When we were here, like you said, we thought that Canada was the team. If you wanted to come out of that group, Canada is the team that you were supposed to beat up on, and we didn't. And then they go get those results against Chile and France. I mean, I don't know how the kids have pulled it off, but what has happened is that the whole of Uganda now is paying attention. At the start of the tournament, if you remember, I was telling you that these children, these young boys are being profiled. FUFA was profiling them through their official spokesperson was profiling them. And these profiles were being shared everywhere on social media. But I was sure that nobody was standing up to notice.
Yeah.
But I felt that people would stand up and notice eventually, which is what they have. The tournament didn't start with big viewership in Uganda. Now everybody, including non-football fans, are sharing all sorts of results and stories on the airwaves. But when you say that the way they bounced back was amazing, it's reflective of the same way the Chan team bounced back after losing to Algeria.
Yeah.
And then eventually coming up through the Guinea and Niger games to that heroic game against South Africa.
Yeah.
The kids have replicated that. So maybe this is beginning to become culture, part of the Ugandan fabric, that you show fight, that you don't quit until the end.
But actually, Mark, there are 4 things for me which I've picked out from the 3 games the Cubs have played in Qatar. Number 1 is that there's not so much of a difference between Uganda and the rest of the world.
Yes,
At
at that
age,
level, at that
level.
age, yeah. There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. I mean, we've competed very well against France. France are one of the two-time World Cup winners, one of the 5 strongest teams in world football today. And there was nothing to separate us.
No,
we
yeah.
beat them actually, you know.
Yeah, you can imagine. And you know, that's a game in which the Cubs took a very early lead.
Yes.
So it's very easy to capitulate under those circumstances.
Absolutely.
Pressure against France for
Yes.
72 minutes because
Yes.
they took it in the 80s.
Yes. Yes.
But yes, yeah.
Number 2, because these are kids, I'm sure the message has been emphasized in the dressing room and in the team talks. Go and enjoy yourselves. Don't put yourselves under any pressure. No one has sent you for a trophy. No one has sent you to go and reach the finals. Just go and show the world the talent that abounds in Uganda. Simple as that. Like I told you, for me, just getting to that level was an achievement. Everything else is a bonus. And even going to the Senegal game, whatever becomes of that match, for me, the team has done a fantastic job. Number 3, the story which has been scripted by Bogere.
Yeah.
No one knew, very few people knew about Bogere before the tournament. Right now, he's the talk of town.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's the darling of the entire country. The goals he scored are not just goals, they are special goals. That opener against Canada, Mark, and we're having this discussion, I do not think and listen, I'm saying this in very good faith, I don't think any of our senior current strikers has shown that kind of composure and calmness and ability to make time stand still. That run, and then the coolness to taking out a defender, and then the placement. I mean, it was incredible. I haven't seen that goal scored by the senior team because that was a remarkable strike, Mark.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, by the way. Again,
I'm talking about the goal against Canada. I forgot about
the goal against Canada, yeah.
Forgot about the win against France, which was also a neat finish.
I
But
thought
the goal against Canada was remarkable. Mark.
I thought that Ivan Mbisiwa against Guinea at the Chan was, but because they took the goalkeeper out, that also took.
That's a good finish.
It was amazing, yeah.
We're leading 2-0.
2-0, yeah. The difference is that it was really on the break.
Yeah.
So himself only had the goalkeeper to deal with.
It was a good finish, yeah.
The pass took the defenders out,
yeah.
so he had a goalkeeper to deal with.
Yeah.
But in the case of Bogere, he had a defender to beat.
Yeah.
It was a box, not so crowded, but there were players in the box, and he had a goalkeeper to beat.
Yeah.
And the way he slalomed past the defender and then beat the goalkeeper at his near post was it was the finish of a player who has actually played for many years.
Absolutely.
Either that or one who is outrageously gifted. I mean,
At a world level.
yeah, I mean,
He
Messi could do that
yeah.
at 17,
Yes.
even before he played so many games for Barcelona.
Yes.
But he's special.
Yes,
And
he's
so we
special.
are saying Bogere is special.
Yes.
I'll say this back.
And I haven't finished. That was point number 3.
Yeah, before
number 4, okay,
before you
before-
finish,
okay, okay.
before you finish number 3, because I'll bring you back to your number 4. Here on Mark to Mark, we talked about Bogere.
Yeah.
And I was sure when we were talking about him that not many people out there knew him, but I knew that by the end of the tournament they would. I just didn't think it would be the impact would be this big.
Yeah.
I talked about him in the same breath as players like Neil Ampty in Ghana, 1991, the man who took the world by storm.
Yes.
Or even in recent times, a man like Victor Osimhen,
Yes.
who took the 2015 tournament by storm,
Yeah.
and then has gone on to very big things at club level.
Win the league in
Europe.
Napoli, scoring goals for Galatasaray.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I compared the kid there, but I thought he might get the odd goal. I didn't think he would be the man because right now he's one of the outstanding players of the tournament.
Without a shadow of doubt.
If they were naming the team for the group stages,
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd have a shout. There's a few guys from Argentina and Brazil
Yeah.
and a few other countries that have actually
Yeah,
shown at this
Portugal,
tournament.
yeah.
But James Bogere has a big shout in there.
Yeah.
And
And we've had some other outstanding Ugandans. Guys who
Yes.
played some very good football.
we will talk about them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk about them.
you go to your number 4.
Now, my 4th point, Mark,
Yeah.
is that we've had a presence of Ugandans in Doha watching and supporting the team.
I noticed.
I was
I've
in
seen
Qatar
them.
for the World Cup, and I know that there are very many Ugandans who are working there, who are earning a living there. Bus drivers, there's some working in supermarkets, there are all sorts of jobs. And many of them have managed to squeeze in time to go and support their country. And when you see those fans, they mean a lot to those young kids out there. And you cannot disregard the impact that they've had in the performance of the team. And someone was wondering on the forum Mark we belong to, and they were saying he was amazed by the number of fans who been there to support the team. Mark, you play football, and it's one thing when you're just playing before a stadium where you cannot see any of your own. But when you see, even if it's just a tiny section of the stadium with fans waving the Ghanaian flag, it just gives you that extra zeal to put in the hard work and deliver the victory.
Yeah, if you're playing that far away from your country,
Yes.
it must have been a pleasant surprise for the Cubs to see
Oh,
actually
yes.
Ugandan faces in there.
Oh, yes.
I don't think the kids expected them.
Yeah.
I don't think many other teams in this tournament, out of the 48 that were there, actually have that kind of presence.
Yeah.
So it is shocking that Uganda should be more supported than other countries,
Yeah.
even bigger nations, footballing nations,
Yeah.
at a tournament like that. So, and you've got to give those guys credit, Mark, because that clearly means they're taking time off work.
I think they're taking
If you
days off.
worked
Yeah.
abroad,
Yeah.
you know what that means.
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure many of them. I mean,
Yes.
there are some of them who have professional jobs.
Yes.
But a
Most
good
of them
number,
have the
probably
kind of
majority
jobs
are
where those
yes.
hours matter.
Those hours matter. Yeah. Those
They
hours
could actually
matter.
even be the difference between you keeping that employment and
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, credit to them. Kudos to the Ugandan fans who are in Qatar. I know some of them are watching mark to mark for taking off time to come and support the young boys. I think it's incredible, and your contribution to the victories cannot
It's
be
amazing, yeah.
Yes, it can be underestimated.
Okay, yeah. So when I come back, Mark, to what you were saying about the rest of the team, because Bogere was always going to steal the show
Yeah.
if he got any goals.
Yeah.
What happens at
And
underage?
typically, Mark, we've said this before.
Yes.
Strikers, goal scorers, goal getters.
Yeah.
They tend to get all the limelight.
They do.
But some other guys who have been doing.
They're doing things, yeah. Because I'll tell you, Mark, especially at under 17, under 20, under 23 level.
Yeah. Yes.
Underage football, even under 15s, underage football, it's very, very difficult for you to be an outstanding goalkeeper or an outstanding defender
yeah.
and be noticed, or even
Yeah.
an outstanding holding midfielder.
Yes.
Because of the kind of work you're doing is not what attracts people there.
Yes.
It takes the eye of very technical people, high-level coaches, high-level scouts and all, to actually be noticing those things and taking notes and saying,
Yeah.
I think we have a Gerard Piqué here,
Yeah.
or whatever, a goalkeeper,
And
and Donnarumma there. But
and the case in point, Mark, sorry to cut you. The goal which Bogere scored against France, the winner, you've got to give, I think it was Sengoba who made the pass.
yeah, so
That assist.
Yeah.
Because many times you're going to see players who get into those positions, even players whom we've seen in European football and world football, whose first instinct would be to cross that ball straight into the 6-yard area. But for this boy to have the presence of mind to play
do
that cutback,
yes.
specifically to Bogere and not to the first line, for me it was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah, because so what happens is that that move actually involved three boys. There was Elvis Torach,
Yes.
who started the run down the right.
It's been impressive.
And then he picked out that Hamza Sengoba run.
Yes.
Actually, Sengoba, by the way, is the captain of the team.
Yes.
Picked out that Sengoba run, and then the cutback was brilliant. The finish from Bogere was actually Osimhen-like.
Yes. Yeah, that was
There's so
Osimhen.
much resemblance
That was
with
Osimhen,
Victor
yeah.
Osimhen, the way
Yeah.
he finished
Yeah.
Bogere. And it gives me pride that we actually made the comparison here
Yeah.
on the show. And when we were talking about it last week, remember, Mark, before the tournament started, was saying, I chronicled a few of the outstanding players over the years. It was clear they were either goal scorers, or they were creative players, either out of midfield or wingers with flair.
Neil Lamptey, Sinama Pongola.
Those guys, yeah. In fact, the only odd man out, if you like, because we talked about Landon Donovan, Sinama Pongola, we talked about Anderson, we talked about Carlos Vela, Kelechi Iheanacho.
All those attackers.
Yeah, the person who was not an attacker, who stood out so much in the under 17s that he made his career, was Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah.
But and that's why I think Arsene Wenger picked up the interest, took him out of the Barcelona academy and made him an Arsenal player because of that tournament.
Yes.
But even Cesc Fabregas playing from deep at that tournament was actually the top scorer.
Wow.
So you had to get some goals to be noticed. Either you're getting goals or taking on and beating people with flair.
Yeah.
And but yet, which is why Bogere gets noticed, and that's how Torach and Hamza Sengoba will be seen. But so many of the kids on our team have actually executed so well. Because like I said, Mark, they scored early. against France. It was a must-win game. You're coming into the game with only 1 point.
Yes.
To finish as one of the best third-place teams, you needed to win.
Yes.
It was a must-win.
Yes.
You score early against a superior team, supposedly superior, and then you have to defend the rest of the way. That means that the goalkeeper and the defense did a great job. But hopefully for us, Bogared's career and that of, by the way, because we have got 3 goals in this group stages,
Yeah.
the other goal was scored by Derek Sozi.
Yes.
Sozi scored the goal against Chile in the 1-1
Yes,
draw.
1-1 draw, yeah.
But Bogared scored against
Canada.
and then also that win against France.
Yeah.
So hopefully some of these careers can be launched to the level of some of those guys we
Yeah.
talked about. Daniel Addo, Wilson Oruma,
Yeah.
the guys who came out of this tournament and then got contracts. Because if they are taken this early, if we have kids getting into, because like I said with Fabregas, when he went out of that tournament, he didn't go into Arsenal's first team.
Yeah.
From Barcelona, he went into the Arsenal academy, as if he was an academy player,
Yeah.
the reserve team and all.
Yes.
From where he emerged and then eventually would captain Arsenal and all. That's how
That's
how the rise was.
The
But
fact
you
of
want them to go early.
And the fact of the matter, Mark, is that with all due respect to our clubs, AC Villa, Vipers, KCC, Express, and NEC, even El Cambio, Masaka Sunshine, a kid is going to benefit a lot better if he's put on the books of a Valerenga or a
even if Ajax in Amsterdam, those ones,
yeah, because of obviously the coaching, the professionalism, and the setups there.
Yes, true.
So it's no disrespect to the credit, to the efforts you have been put in, but I mean I love the emphasis which the federation has put in the junior league. It's been very important. I know that some clubs have been very deliberate, KCCA, and in ensuring that players at that age are given the right training, and they are given this relatively the similar attention, the same attention that the senior team enjoys. But we've also got we have to give credit to Mark El Cambio in Masaka. I think they've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because Mark, the 3 boys,
Yes.
the 3 boys who combined for that goal against France,
Yes.
are all from Masaka Sunshine. Torach, Hamza Sengoma, and the goal scorer
and the goal
himself.
scorer,
They're actually all from Masaka Sunshine. It's amazing that they've emerged from there and gotten the opportunity. It's a big credit. We said it last week, but we'll repeat it. It's a big credit to FUFA, to the federation, for how deliberate they've been with underage football, with youth football, with the competitions they have, including the ones for the clubs themselves.
Yeah.
And so a kid from Masaka can come and shine on the world stage.
Yeah.
It was before, if we had ever qualified before, it would have been somebody from KCCA
Yes.
or Villa or Vipers.
Yes.
But now the net was cast wider. So you have kids from Bokedea Comprehensive, we talked about them
Yes.
here. You have
Yes.
kids from Budo, SS, and where,
Yeah.
we talked about a kid from Namiriango as
Yeah.
well. And they've all been given the opportunity because of this. Several other academies and setups like that in Uganda are going to be encouraged about the work they're doing. Because if it's paying at this level, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I go back to the bit where you said credit, regardless of how much these academies and the clubs have done deliberately. Still, the development between from this age 17 up to 21, 22, the transition is still difficult in Uganda. The structures have improved, but they're not solid. So, I mean, if you see, the way, say, Tijani Babangida, how he grew up in the Ajax Academy and the player he became, or only recently, Ansu Fati at Barcelona.
Yeah.
Or say, the clubs like that, those are really big clubs. But even at a smaller club, John Obi Mikel was in Norway in his teenage years. By the time he moved to Chelsea, he had already made his name in Europe as a teenager.
Mark, a story is
these
told.
kids, if we get some of this to go earlier.
A story is told, and I think that image is somewhere, Mark, of the former Cranes midfielder Saddam Juma.
Yes.
Playing at Barcelona around the time when Fabregas was there.
Yes.
And they were all emerging. They were all kids.
Yes,
then.
that's right.
And Fabio Capello was actually impressed, apparently, by the talent of Saddam Juma. And he felt that was a kid who could go places, you know. Of course, Juma is one of the many players who never fulfilled their potential, you know.
He had a relatively good career in Uganda, but you know that he could have been bigger.
But given the potential,
he could have been bigger. Yeah.
It could have been way bigger. I mean, if he played,
he was outstanding. He was special.
He was special
for that generation. He was different.
And for someone who was on the same pitch as Cesc Fabregas, their careers took divergent paths.
Yes.
You know, Fabregas later on went to win things in Arsenal, in
Barcelona. He won everyone for Spain. He won everything.
He won everything, you know. And yet, you think Saddam Juma I thought Juma could have achieved a lot more than he did. He showed flashes of his brilliance when he was at Express for Vipers, but he never
and at KCC as well.
Yeah. But he never quite hit the heights that he promised. But Mark,
that career should never have been limited to only Uganda.
Absolutely. Let me put you on the spot, Mark. We've seen the team. We've beaten France 1-0 in Qatar. Why do I think, and I hope I'm wrong, why do I think that 10 years from now, the trajectory of the French kids who we beat is going to be different from that of the very Ghanaian team that beat them? And I'm saying this because in 2000, Cameroon beat Spain in the finals of the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
I remember very well, yeah.
10 years later, 12 years later, that Spanish team was winning the World Cup. They were winning the European Championships. They were winning Champions Leagues year on end. The very chaps, the Chavis and ETCs. So, what can we do to avert my fears?
Your fears are not unfounded because there's always been a problem of transitioning from youth football to senior level in Africa, even for the more established countries like the Cameroon you just cited.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trajectory is not as it should be, but you also know, for example, that in 1998, that wasn't 98, it was Atlanta 96, the Olympics Atlanta 96, the Nigerian team that beat Brazil, the Okochas and Kanos and Olises and all of those guys went on to have great careers, senior careers, because sometimes it works out that way. The case of Uganda is a bit challenging. Cameroon, Nigeria, Senegal, and the North Africans, and these guys have been more established at youth level for a longer time. Ghana, especially Ghana.
They have greater football cultures than we have.
Yes, and so it's easy for them to have that conveyor belt. You see the arrangements that Hearts of Oak or ASEC Mimosa have with European clubs, and it's easy for a player to be picked up at an age like that, even if they haven't played at the World Cup, to them to start a career in Europe. Those same scouts and those same big clubs have not been looking into East Africa because, like I said before in the other show last week, we have not been appearing at these tournaments and attracting the attention that we should. Now, these kids have gone and done that. You hope that 1 or 2 or 3 of them end up there, so they start their European journey earlier than, say, the guys we have there who have gone a bit belatedly. And then you hope also that then here as well, if the ones who come back domestically can get that quick acceleration or promotion into the senior teams of their clubs, so that the trajectory doesn't die. Because it happened for people like, even without playing at a World Cup or major tournament, there are kids who got promoted out of youth clubs, youth teams in our clubs, and the acceleration was quick enough for them to actually establish themselves. I go to Jackson Mayanja easily because that was the more famous example.
Yeah.
The City Cup through KCCA, onto the Cranes and captain, and then El Masri and whatever. But even Alan Okelo only recently.
Here's the thing. There's a very big opportunity for the young players in Uganda today. And here's why. First and foremost, because we are hosting Chan and Pamoja, already you saw what happened with Chan.
Yes.
The team reached the latter stages for the first time, lost to Senegal, but they did a good job, and they were rewarded with the president, and they created a buzz around the country, and Angola was full, and people were excited. AFCON is coming. So there's going to be Morocco 2025, which is happening next month. Uganda is based in Rabat, grouped with Tunisia, Nigeria, and I think Tanzania. The country will be watching keenly because that's the main national team. And then after that, we shall be heading into Pamoja, where we're going to have a bigger buzz and greater numbers all over the country because AFCON is 10 times what CHAN is. Now, when you have the energy coming from CHAN into now the under-17 team, and I remember telling you, Mark, that our performance was going to have an impact on the Cubs.
In the Cubs, yeah.
It gave them a sense of heightened responsibility, but also belief and confidence and patriotism.
Yeah.
So if that wave continues from CHAN to Qatar, then to Morocco,
then
back to Uganda with Pamoja, I think there's a very, very big opportunity for the kids in this team and all the young players, because we also have another Cubs team which is competing in Tanzania at the same time. So that shows that there are many, many young players who can play, who can compete, and our players can't take on anyone in the world and beat them. The difference between us and the rest of the world is not so much in talent. There are many other small details where we lose track.
Yeah.
And cumulatively over a span of 5-10 years, that's when you have countries which are ranked first, second, third, and fourth, and you're ranked 100. And now the challenge is how do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, the structures to develop young players beyond their talent.
Yes.
In terms of the other technical aspects that go into developing a player, we have had challenges with those.
Yes.
From the expertise to handle everything from their nutrition to their conditioning properly, and then to create
mindset.
Mindsets and
professionalism, patience,
preparing them
managing fame, being humble,
living outside your country, away from your family, away from your countrymates, in places where they speak different languages and have different cultures. That we haven't had that, but the improvement is there.
And for the lack of a better example, this is an example I can use, Mark. Cristiano Ronaldo, for me, is among the 5 greatest players of all time. This is arguably the richest footballer in the world, ever. But the man is competing at 40, he's 40 years. He's competing like he's won nothing. Like he hasn't achieved what he wants to achieve.
Absolutely.
And yet he has achieved everything, and he has all the money in the bank. But that dedication, that discipline, that single-mindedness it's legendary.
Yeah.
Now, how do you don't have to be Ronaldo, you may never be Ronaldo, but how can you replicate some of the things CR7 has done in your young career to achieve to the highest of your abilities?
Look, like we've said, the motivation is there. The inspiration is going to be there. These kids now know by shining on this stage and by the attention that's being paid to Ugandan football now.
Yes.
That there are places to go and there are things to achieve. And so they'll strive to do those. It is up to us down here then to create an environment in which they are prepared in all those ways. And I'm saying that is also improving. And what happens is that with repetition, when this becomes a major factor of the Ugandan game, because it wasn't in the past, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then these things work automatically. At the academies we're talking about, they are teaching kids there now the things which were not taught when we played at their age. At Masaka Sunshine or at Bukedia Conspiracy, they're teaching those kids things that were not taught back then. I could not spell the word physiotherapy. I never got a massage ever.
Yes.
Playing for St. Mary's College Isubi at 17.
Yes.
So that is a given now.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or some spa treatment or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
a story is told. Let me just say,
yes.
A story is told, and this was in the early 90s, where I think it was SCVille, which was hosting one of those North African teams. Yes. And at halftime, they were taking water. The team Villa was playing was taking water, and I was told it's by someone who was part of that SCVille team. Yes. and the villa management. So for them, they decided to take soda at halftime and said, "Bali kati wanafia kati wao mazifa kananywa soda at halftime." You're just weakening yourselves. And then you're giving that advantage to the other guys. I mean, Villa was stuffed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But because there was a lot of ignorance.
Ignorance, yeah. So it's much better now.
Sports science, and it's much better right
Much
now.
better now. So what the fact that the federation has been deliberate about promoting youth football means that with repetition we are going to be getting this right. The fact that FIFA, for example, have turned the Under-17 World Cup into an annual event will mean that we have to be prepared every year.
Yeah.
So while the Bulgarians
and Mark, you cannot underestimate the fact that right now government is pumping in some good billions.
a lot of money, which is why
into football,
which is one of the reasons
which was
why,
never the case.
Yeah, while FIFA does have a lot of other external funding, government's contribution to their coffers is such that they can run 11 national teams now,
and
at the same time.
And they're using that money directly for national teams.
Yes. So there's been a huge improvement. But the fact that we're going to be doing this all the time means that repetition is such that you perfect it at all angles, not only what happens on the pitch,
Yes.
but also off it. And this is why I have a lot of hope. While the Bulgares and Torachis and Sengobas are making their name in Qatar, another team, our team, under-17 team, has been summoned to start qualifiers for this region to try and end up at the World Cup as well. So the Sekafa region qualifiers are taking place in Ethiopia. Uganda will be playing against Burundi.
And the news filtering through from that team, Mark, is that all the 23 players passed the MRI test.
That's what, you see. So,
which is very good news.
Yeah, so the guys are going to be competing against Burundi on Saturday when their other under-17s are playing against Senegal in the quarterfinals, and rather in the round of 32 in Qatar. And the federation has put Laria Kingston in charge of these youth teams. Laria Kingston is a Ghanaian man who went through what was already in place in Ghana, the Ghana structures which we didn't have here.
Yes.
And so he brings that wealth of experience to this. And he's one of those, of course, that then are going to help in seeing that these kids, they do the right things at this age, are ready competitively, and also FUFA, as they have with others like Micho and Paul Put and other coaches who have come here, foreigners, can tap into his contacts.
So my next question, as we wind up this discussion,
yes,
is there a plan, or rather, do we have a plan to deliberately monitor the progress and development of this very team, not so much the entire under-17, but this very team from the 23 players? Because what happens is, Mark, we've had some good teams which have reached. We had was it the under-20 which reached the finals of the Africa?
Yes, it was
AFCON?
under-20.
And how many of them, apart from Gavin Mugwele Chizito, where are the other guys? Where have they progressed? Has there been that organic growth?
I know, was it Said Cheyune part of that team?
No, Said Cheyune wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he
No,
wasn't.
he
Yeah.
wasn't,
I know there was Richard Basangwa and a few others. But I'm not saying it's not a problem which is unlimited to Uganda, by the Mark. You would even find that even for the Argentina team, which won the Under-20 World Cup in 2007, only a handful of players emerged from them, Di Maria and Sergio Aguero. You can never have the entire team becoming world champions in later years. But if you have like 5 or 6 success stories, then it's going to breed that habit, that repetition, breed the habit of success stories from which other younger players can pick on to strive and aspire to.
No, I see this happening. I see this happening. The buzz that's going to be created around youth football, that has already been created, but it's going to be created by this.
Shall we monitor the development of those players, all the 23, between now and, well, at least for the next 5 years, because they'll still be 22?
Yeah, look.
You don't want to lose the experience of someone who's had a taste of World Cup football, because this is the first time a Ugandan football team competes at the World Cup.
No, I think it's...
You don't want to lose the experience of Qatar and you put it down the bin. That's why I'm saying, are we going to monitor the
I say yes. And it will be easier, like I said, than in the past. I've just talked about the federation and what they've done. Because the kids who are playing at under-17 now will have to represent us at under-19 and under-21, under-23 level at some point. So they'll be tracking them. We've talked about Larry Kingston being put in charge of the whole setup. He and his backroom staff and all will be able to do this as well because they're in charge of the whole setup, not just one team and not singing into here and then Mole here. No, they're in charge of the whole setup. That's 2. But 3, these kids are coming back home also to establish setups. There are kids from Vipers and KCCA. There are kids from Bull and Neck. There are kids from Masaka, Sunshine, like we said. There are kids at Bukedea Comprehensive. Bukedea Comprehensive and Budo and Amos and all. There are guys who, if these guys go back to school as 17-year-olds in S5, will still be required to play at that high level because these schools are very demanding. And we know the reasons why football is important to those schools. But then also the academies, the academies also, because they know they actually can make a lot of money. One kid can offset the investment of a 10-year investment into an academy of somebody's or a group's or an individual self-sacrifice.
Yeah, just one cell.
Can be offset by one cell. So these guys will be serious about them. So will Vipers and KCCA.
Yeah.
So I don't worry too much about that. And considering that now we are in a better environment, football management-wise, than we were in the past.
It's not a question of worrying, Mark. We just have to put it on record here because these things are done elsewhere, and we want to ensure that
this is what I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
Mark to Mark will be tracking.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Let's leave the Cubs at that. We hope on Saturday they can actually go on better than the last 32 and get into the last 16. Their seniors are also in action. You just talked about AFCON being next month in Morocco. And that is that's a whole while. These are the mature guys who are actually going to be inspiring those kids to continue this trajectory because of the attention that's on them, considering that we host the next tournament. Now, there's an international break this week, and the senior cranes have been summoned. They're going to be in action. There are several things there, Mark, that I'd like to point out about this. One is that for continuity and stability, FUFA have actually gone and signed Paul Put to a fresh contract because the contract had run out.
Yeah.
This is the man who has taken the Uganda Cranes through great World Cup qualifiers and then qualified them for this AFCON. Now he's back until 2028. Yeah. So there's stability there. There was a chance that Put could have jumped at a chance to court Cameroon or another of the African countries, but he didn't take it. So that is good. 2, the team he has summoned for the friendlies. We have 2 friendlies in this international break. One is against Chad on Friday, and then there's another against Morocco on Tuesday. Now, Morocco actually extended the invitation to Uganda themselves, which means that Morocco, and I guess that must be from some of the things that happened during the CHAN and also what they saw in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
Because Morocco came here and won the CHAN. We didn't make the final, got knocked out by Senegal, but we established
we came this close to playing Morocco.
To playing Morocco, so they know. They've extended an invitation to the Ghana Cranes, perhaps also because of some of the opposition they have in their group. They think the Cranes can help them prepare.
Yeah.
And for us, they'll help us to prepare because we have Tunisia in our group.
Yeah.
So we have Chad and Morocco. Now, Put has gone and summoned the team that I found interesting. Mark, let me just run it through it very quickly. The goalkeepers, Onyango and Salim Magora back, but there's no Nafiana Leonzi. Instead, I see Dennis Chikun from Vipers and also Tom Ikara from Bull.
Okay.
That the defense, there's the automatic 6. We know the back 4 of Toby Sibik from Baton Albion, from Jordan Obita, Hibanian. Cappadocia these days plays in Romania for FC Cluj. By the Cluj is also a famous team in Europe, And then Aziz Kayondo, who's at Slovan Liberec in Czech Republic.
Best Ugandan player over the last 2-3 years.
Those 4, plus the 2 who we know, for the backup from Vipers, Torach and Mukundane, are there. Habat Achai from KCCA is now a backup for Aziz Kayondo, we know. But I've not seen Elvis Bomono, I've not seen Gavin Chizito in there. Instead, I see...
It's Kenneth Semakola in the team.
Kenneth Semakola, but he's named as a midfielder. So I see Moses Aliro.
He's played him mostly as a midfielder.
I see Moses Aliro from URA coming into that setup. So that's quite interesting that Aliro is the one who's been called up. Then that midfield that you talk about, Semakola is there. He's a mainstay now. He and Semakola is from Saudi Arabia, and he and Khalid Aucho, our captain, who plays at Singida in Tanzania, those ones are there. Their backups, 2 guys from the US. Bobosibia Ruhanga, who's at Auckland Roots, I think. And then Alan Oiroth from New England Revolution. That's somebody would like to take a bigger look at.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy, Ali Hassan Baba, who I don't think many Ugandans know about. He's also coming in from Romania. So that's one of the new inclusions that they'll be seeing.
No place for Sechiganda?
No, I didn't see a Sechiganda in that squad. No, I didn't see a Sechiganda or any of the other. No Joel Soronjoji.
No Enoch Sebagala.
No Enoch Sebagala, no. Then for the attackers, of course, the ones who play out of the 10, Alan Okello, Vipers, Travis Mutiaba, that is CS Sfaxien in Tunisia. By the way, Mutiaba, many people might still think he's still in Bordeaux, but it's Sfaxien in Tunisia. I'm thinking probably getting more football.
He's traveled there. He's become such
a gentleman at an early age.
At an early age. I hope he sticks to one club and
settles a bit and gets to play. Yeah, then of course you have...
I think it's actually a story development, Mark. If you're making all those moves, you need an extended run out there playing football. Not making moves and getting out of contract.
So you have those. Then you have, of course, the front three which we are used to. Semo Gabi from South Sudan, and Mokwala from Simba in Tanzania, and Rogers Mato, who plays at Vada in Macedonia. But then you have the backup. You have Joseph Mpande, he's coming out of Vietnam, actually. You've got Regan Mpande from Villa. You've got Shafiq Nana Kwikiriza from KCCA. You've got... and then there's Lorenzen, the guy from who plays in Thailand.
Yeah, Melvin.
Melvin Lorenzen, yeah. And then, of course, Uche Ikpeazu, Uche Ikpeazu Mobiru plays at St. Johnstone in Scotland.
I think well, first and foremost, I don't think all of them will travel. I think those have been called by the team for the coach to have just to cast his net wide and just have
not all of them will make the final squad. But now you get a picture of who will make the final squad.
Yeah, and I think because AFCON is just a few days, some 5 or so weeks away. This tournament is going to give I think one last look.
Those 2 games.
Those 2 games.
Because after, I think 2 weeks after this break, they're actually going into camp.
Into camp, yes.
Yeah, and to prepare for...
Yes, and I mean, Uganda is in a very difficult group.
Tunisia, Nigeria, Tanzania. Tough group it's going to be. But
strange as it sounds, for me, our this game could actually be against Tanzania, Mark. And because of the derby, and we know what Nigeria, we know what to expect from Nigeria. Tunisia, and these are teams, I mean, we shall be happy to sit back and punish on the break. You're not going to do the same against Tanzania.
Nah. The thing is, because we'll be underdogs going into the games against Nigeria and Tunisia.
And Tunisia, yes.
In the face of many Africans, including our own home people.
Yes.
But against Tanzania,
which works in our favor.
Against Tanzania, everybody will expect us to compete. With the fans, so the team will be under pressure.
And that's the one game you can't afford to lose if you want to advance from that group. Because you think that... I mean, that's the same way probably Tanzanians are thinking. Uganda is the one team.
The team they need to beat. But you see, football pans out in a funny way because
I remember the
under 17 kids have beaten France. They failed to beat Canada and beat France.
So
they failed to beat Tanzania and beat Nigeria.
The group which had Ghana, Mozambique, I think Egypt and somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think Ghana finished bottom because we all thought that I think it had even Cape Verde.
Yes.
And Egypt struggled as well to advance from that group.
So I remember back being at Euro 2000. I was at Euro 2000 in the Netherlands and Belgium.
Yeah.
And one of the groups, of course, I paid a lot of attention to. It was my first trip to Europe and all.
Yeah.
The group that had Germany, England, Portugal, and Romania. Yeah. Germany and England are the ones that didn't advance.
They never advanced,
Portugal and Romania are the ones that came out of that group.
So they think they are football. Take care of the first game. And but anyway, back to the team. I think the one thing I've liked about Paul Put, and I think when he was appointed, I didn't think it was the right decision. I thought that this is a guy who had traveled all over Africa. And I got so much stick from my friends in Southern Africa, my friend called Petros Kausio, is a journalist in Zimbabwe, and he said, but Uganda.
How do you appoint such a man?
Crazy. That man is just he's just coming. He's a gentleman who's just coming to pick his paycheck, and then he goes, what's wrong with us Africans? You know, and we knew that this is a guy who was the coach of Burkina Faso when they reached the finals in 2013 and lost to Stephen Keshi in Nigeria. But
he also coached Guinea at that level.
He also coached Guinea, and he obviously had those allegations of match fixing scandals and all. But in fairness to him, and I'll give Paul Put all the credit, as someone who didn't think he was the right pick when he was appointed by FUFA, his teams have been very, very. They've been playing attacking football. He's someone who is the opposite, the antithesis of Mitchell. So while Mitchell's teams built from the back, Mitchell was a first shut the back kind of coach. Paul Put wants to take the game to the opponent.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's not been afraid to have Travis and Alan on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
Even when Uganda have been leading 2-3-0, he's not been known to make all these changes to protect the lead.
No. It's been attacking changes that he has made.
Yeah, it's been attacking that is made. And there is certain freedom with which our boys play. Rogers Mato, Alan Okello,
Semugabi, whoever gets the chance.
So yeah. I think he's under contract, and let's see what comes out of Uganda's preps. I think especially with the team, with the kind of defenders we have right now, when you have Opita and Kapradosi and Sibik and Aziz, I think we have a tremendous back line. We are very formidable at the back. We shall have a good goalkeeper, regardless of whether it's Jamal Salim or Denis Onyango. At least we will not be short of experience. We have Aucho in midfield. I think if we are solid defensively, that current team has
should be okay. Yeah.
That current team has goals.
This is a team which attacks more and scores more.
We can score goals against anyone in Africa. I would fancy Alan Okello and Rogers Mato and Stephen Mukola to trouble any defense in Africa. And I think we shall have a chance.